Good morning, good evening, good night. EagleMMA Family. These are UFC fighters as addictions. Right, so in today's world, every single person has their vices or addictions, right? Some people, it's as simple as they like to go out every Saturday, have a couple brewskis with their coworkers. Other people, they go a little bit deeper, and UFC fighters are no strangers to this. Right, so in today's video, we will be going through every single addiction and giving a fighter to represent that addiction. Either the fighter perfectly encapsulates what it represents, or they were a user, let's just say that. Some of these addictions, they're a lot more stigmatized than others. Starting off with our first addiction on this list, which is most likely the most common addiction and most, who gives an F, addiction in America and pretty much the world right now. Alcoholism, the addiction of drinking too much alcohol. The fighter representation for this is Alex Pereira. For anybody that doesn't know, Alex Pereira started drinking alcohol at the age of, I think, 12 years old. Base. That's pretty fucking base. But that sent him down a pretty big fucking spiral to where he quit school. He became a tire fucking auto shop worker or some shit at like the age of 14 or something like that. And this addiction led up until he was in Glory Kickboxing, becoming the fucking world champion. He was still pounding fucking liquor. He is the best representation of the alcohol addiction. And another side one for alcoholism is drunk driving, the addiction to drunk driving. Jeff Hands on the wheel, Neil, right? If you don't know, Jeff Neal was arrested for driving under the influence. I think he had like a point one or something. I don't know. Either way, I mean, really, you're gonna get angry at a motherfucker drinking a brewski on the way back from a long days of work. Can't really get mad at that. But the next addiction on this list is also a relatively seemingly harmless addiction that people really don't care about, especially here in California. You're weird if you don't have this addiction. A marijuana addiction. The fighter that represents this is easily Sean O'Malley. People are gonna say, oh, what about Nate and Nick Diaz? They don't fight in the UFC anymore. They're bums. They were never good. They're also just retarded. Like, I think weed made them, like, smarter because they were just so fucking stupid. Sean O'Malley is the only one in the UFC that is a public, avid marijuana smoker. He's the most clear representation for this. And we can see in his performances recently that it's kind of taken a toll on him, right? He's also like a spiritual former vegan, which just adds to like the 14-year-old stoner stereotype. But in his last fight against Merab Dvalishvili, the whole fight he was looking sluggish. He just wasn't able to get any of his timing on, which is most likely from a withdrawal of not smoking any marijuana. Because anyone that knows, smoking marijuana before a fist fight or any sort of activity like that is actually good for you. It helps you be more creative. Nick Diaz had an insane amount of marijuana in his system right before his fight with Takanori Gomi, seen as one of the best fights in MMA history. It was a bloody, crazy performance from Nick Diaz. He smoked a fat fucking blunt right before that fight happened. It is one of the best addictions for a UFC fighter to have, which leads into our next addiction. Another one that is pretty harmless. Who fucking cares, honestly? Who really cares? A nicotine addiction, smoking cigarettes, vaping. Obviously, it's fucking Carlos Prates. This motherfucker knocks back like 2 fucking 20 packs a week. Like, that is crazy, dude. And listen, nicotine actually is really good for you. There have been a lot of studies that show nicotine prevents Alzheimer's by like 32%. It improves cognitive ability. Obviously, you can get addicted to it because it's awesome, which leads into the more harmful effects, which is only from what you're using with, right? People that smoke Marlboros and shit, it's all that, you know, bleach in the paper, fiberglass filters, or the treatment they do on the tobacco. So if you get like, you know, hand fucking picked, untreated, unfiltered, raw fucking tobacco, that's actually really not that fucking bad for you. But Carlos Prates smokes, chain smokes like a motherfucker, dude. He's ripping so many fucking darts, it's kind of crazy. But we're gonna get into our first serious addiction, where this really is when you start to fly off the handle. A gambling addiction. One of the most, I mean, honestly, beautiful addictions. I'm enamored by the gambling addiction of like 20 old heads sitting in a room just eyes locked in the screen, not a phone in sight, not a cell phone in sight, just people enjoying their time together, spamming a little button in hopes that they get 30 cents back from their investment. It's Sergey Pavlovich, right? Sergey Pavlovich, literally before every single one of his fights, goes on a massive gambling spree. And like the UFC posts about this, oh, look at Sergey Pavlovich. Oh, he's just most likely gonna lose all his money and then get into a fist fight right after. Listen, I'm not gonna be the one to tell you that gambling is bad. Because it really isn't that bad. It's a hot take, Eagle, hot take. But listen, it can lead down a dark road. There have been a lot of people that have had their lives ruined. They just suck. They just quit too early. So honestly, gambling, actually, I kind of recount any of my, this is the downturn. You cannot lose in gambling. If you just keep gambling, you will eventually win money. The only people that lose at gambling are people that quit too early. But now we get into like an actual more real addiction that is honestly the most widespread in the entire world, specifically America. I think it's around 70% of this type of content originates and is viewed in America. It is a pornography/sex addiction. This is quite obviously Israel Adesanya. Listen, I was about to put Rampage Jackson on here because that dude is a gooner. Shouts out to the Gooners, man. They ain't hurting nobody. But Rampage Jackson, he's a feeler. He's a feeler. He likes to grab a little something here and there. He's a little, he gets a little, enamored with the ladies sometimes. But you know, that's normal. That's normal, right? Everyone's gonna grab a little something every once in a while. But Israel Adesanya is a much better representation of a pornography addiction. He literally is constantly talking about how much hentai he watches. He calls himself a dog. He watches anime and shit. He is like the perfect representation of the majority of people that have a sex addiction. They're all anime losers who just fucking sit in their rooms all day. They talk, oh, my anime story arc. He fucking paints his like nails and shit too. Just like this, like, just disgusting, just fucking disgusting, absolute loser, fucking like femboy shit. Israel Adesanya, what are you doing, man? Listen, you got a fight coming up against Imavov. I'm picking Izzy to beat Imavov, but come on, you got to reel this addiction in just a little bit to get the fucking tea back up, because obviously watching that many naked people is really bad for your fucking mental, but also every release you have is a release of testosterone. That's why fighters, boxers, and UFC fighters, and a lot of athletes as well, will tell you this. They abstain themselves from a week, 2 weeks before they enter a competition because of the buildup of all the testosterone. So it actually weakens his performance as well. Now we get into another addiction that, again, sure, it's bad. It's not a good thing. But listen, everyone's gonna party every once in a while. Cocaine addiction, Jon Jones. I know all the fucking Jon Jones haters are gonna be, yes, Jon Jones, he's such a bad person. Who fucking cares, honestly? Listen, I don't give a shit if he rail fucking lines. I don't fucking care. Oh, he's a bad person. I know the Jones Glazers too are gonna go, oh, who cares? I'm not a Jones Glazer. I'm not a Jones hater. I'm neither of them. Cocaine is probably not the best for you, and it definitely affects your performance and how you fucking interact with certain people. But at the end of the day, everyone's got something, bro. Everyone's got something. It's not the worst thing. He's literally just a partier. He just does it when he goes out to fucking parties and shit. I don't care, but he still is the most prominent, other than Conor McGregor, user of cocaine in the UFC. Now we get into basically the same thing as cocaine, but specifically for one niche of college students who need to cram fucking shit, an exam, fucking essay or something. Adderall, an Adderall addiction, and technically he's not a UFC fighter, but he is one of the most prominent UFC commentators. Jon Anik has an Adderall addiction. Let's be fucking honest, dude. This guy has so much fucking energy, he's constantly yelling, he just looks wired. This motherfucker is just constantly wired, bro. You can see it in his eyes. Like, listen, when someone is intoxicated, you can see it in their fucking eyes. Jon Anik has these crazy fucking pupils, like the stare of death right through your fucking soul every time he's talking about Bogdan Guskov's elite cardio or some shit like that. It's crazy. There's no way you're that interested in fucking Julian Orosa's high kick, bro. Like, he's fucking crazy, and to have that job, you need to cram a shit ton of information. It makes perfect sense. He encapsulates everything about an Adderall addiction. Next up on this list is probably the most prominent, notorious, hardcore drug, the Big H. They call it horse, they call it black tar, they call it white china. It is a heroin addiction, and this is Jared Gordon. I mean, he literally bragged about doing heroin.
My grandfather fought in the stadium 4 times. I used to shoot heroin in Penn Station underneath this building. Now I'm fighting in it and knocking guys out.
First of all, that's so base, bro. Bragging about how I used to be a fucking crack addict and I used to do heroin under MSG. That is already so fucking base. I respect, honestly, if Jared Gordon was just like a normal fucking guy, I wouldn't give a fuck about him. But to find out that he's actually a fucking heroin addict and he's like a junkie, and then also is just like a really boring person, has the dumbest nickname, and has a super fucking boring fight style with a glass chin, it's so fucking funny to actually watch Jared Gordon fight purely because of his post-heroin addiction. Next up, this is the one that hits hardest to home to me because I've had family members that have dealt with this addiction, and if anybody else has anyone that they know that is suffering with this specific addiction, please let me know in the comments below. I will send you a helpline, a specific helpline for this. It is a Lego addiction. Now, here's the thing about Lego addiction. It takes roughly, and this is a rough estimate, I've seen multiple studies saying different things, but roughly 1 million lives in America per week. 1 million lives in America are gone because of Lego addiction. It is the most fucking serious addiction because a Lego addiction goes down a very, very disgusting dark path. It goes down completely the wrong road. And the UFC fighter that perfectly encapsulates this addiction is Brandon Moreno. He is the most prominent Lego abuser in the UFC. And we've seen the more Legos he has collected over the years, the worse his performances have gotten, right? At the peak, when you're at the peak and you have just the amount of Legos that you need to keep getting that high from building your fucking little Legos and shit, and then you start to go over. Then you need more and more, and it doesn't feel the same, and you're just chasing that next Lego high. Brandon Moreno is currently in his relapse era. He's struggling with Lego, and like I said, if anyone has anyone that they know that is struggling with a Lego addiction, please let me know because it's a lot more serious. I know people will think I'm joking about this, but this is a real serious thing. Next up on this list is probably the most recent phenomenon in illegal hard drugs. It is fentanyl, a Fent addiction.
Got caught gooning with my hands down. They won't let me back into me.
Right, so for any of you old heads that have no clue what Fent is, short for fentanyl, honestly, do I even need to fucking explain it to you? Just look it up. It is a real medical drug that is used in hospitals, and it has recently started to be abused completely all across America, specifically in Skid Row and Kensington, Pennsylvania. And Fent motherfuckers, it just kills you, bro. You start nodding off and shit. You start living in a different fucking world. You get a really fucked up face from it too, like meth and shit. You get meth face. And the fighter that encapsulates this is Marcus McGee. Now listen, I'm not here to make any racial stereotypes. That's not why I picked him. He just has the Fent face, bro. Listen, Marcus McGee is a motherfucker. He's super entertaining, and he's actually really good. He kind of fucked up Jonathan Martinez. But bro, he just looks Fent the fuck up, bro. Like, he has total fucking Fent face. That's really all I could come up with this one, right? You know, I'm running dry with some of these, bro. He just has Fent face. But next up on this list, I just mentioned it, meth/crack. I couldn't find many fucking UFC fighters that have smoked crack or smoked meth. The only one that I could find was Matt Brown, who I don't even think is in the UFC anymore. I'm pretty sure he retired, so not really the best one, but he literally fucking smoked that shit and still became like a top 15 fucking contender somehow. How shit was the UFC that a literal fucking meth addict became a top 15 fighter in the fucking world, dude? Listen, if that doesn't tell you anything about, you know, achieving your fucking goals, you can literally smoke fucking meth, you can be a crack addict, and you can still get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars and knock people the fuck out. But next up on this list, and the third last addiction we will get through, the third last main addiction, because there's two extra ones we'll hit on at the end here, a whippet addiction, also Galaxy Gas. It's kind of a double entendre here. I'm doing both. Whippets is Dricus du Plessis. Listen, whippets are the most common frat boy, party boy fucking drug right now. Obviously, Galaxy Gas had their big fucking opening within the last year or so, but whippets have been around since like the early 2000s, and it is part of a white boy summer. It's Dricus du Plessis. DDP is literally a South African goofy white boy. He's on his goofy white boy summer arc. He's gonna do some fucking whippets, and he's gonna chill. He's gonna go fish with the boys. He's gonna go knock back some brewskis and go talk to some chicks. He's having his white boy summer. Let him have it. And for the specific distinction of Galaxy Gas, it's Islam Makhachev. Now, I made a whole video about this. UFC fighters that do Galaxy Gas, specifically not Whippets, Galaxy Gas. Go check it out. Islam Makhachev is fucking just... like, there's no way Islam is that fucking dumb. There is no way. How is he a UFC champion, one of the greatest lightweights of all time, if not the greatest lightweight of all time? He's not. How is he... like... retarded? Like, he's literally fucking unconscious, bro. He is a husk. He's a fucking shell. And my theory is that Galaxy Gas actually makes him smarter, right? It's like the fucking, what is that shit? It's like the fucking Limitless pill, bro, where, like, when he takes the Galaxy Gas, he turns into a fucking phenom, but when he's off it, he just deteriorates mentally, like, to a point where you can't even call him, like, a functioning fucking person. But next up on this list is psychedelics, right? This could be any mushrooms, fucking, I don't know, LSD, fucking, like toad venom, whatever the fuck these fucking psychonauts do. It's Terrence McKinney. Now, Terrence McKinney had a viral arrest video of him when I think he was in college. He took a shit ton of mushrooms, smoked a shit ton of weed, and he literally fucking crashed out, bro. He literally fucking crashed out. He's like smacking his fucking chest going, I am God. I am fucking God, dude. Right, and this actually affects fighters' careers more than people give credit, right? When you do psychedelics, like people that have taken it for the first time, they go, my entire thought process changed, and you become like more spiritual and understanding. That doesn't help you in a fist fight. Being more aware of what the person is feeling and being more spiritual, it makes you more fucking anxious and more fucking timid. I bet if Terrence McKinney never fucking did psychedelics at all, he would be a phenom. He'd be like the next fucking Jeff Neal, except he'd actually be a fucking legend. But next up, and the last main addiction on this list, is a lean/cough syrup addiction. I think the most obvious one is Jamal Hill. Now listen, I literally love Jamal Hill. Jamal Hill is fucking hilarious. I think the hate that people fucking give him is crazy, just because he fucking like he yawned at the thought of fighting Alex Pereira again. People fucking hate him for no reason. They have to be like racist or some shit. But let's be honest, Jamal Hill is a hood ass jit. He's from fucking O Block. The way, literally how he spars is he gets fucked up on lean, gets a little bit of Henny, smokes a fucking Newport, then goes out on the streets of Skid Row or some other fucking the hood. He goes to out on the streets of the hood and just street fights people. That's how he spars and prepares for fights. Now listen, this is a positive and negative because it's a really good fight experience, but when you're not on the lean, when you're not on the purple drank, you can't really replicate that style as much. He's kind of like a drunken brawler without the alcohol. But those are the main addictions, and I wanted to get two more. First of all, the GOAT, the greatest of all time in terms of addictions, is Conor McGregor. He literally fucking has like half of these. Gambling, sex addiction, alcoholism, cocaine, marijuana, like nicotine, fucking probably Adderall, probably fucking Whippets, probably cough syrup. Like, Conor McGregor's the fucking addiction GOAT. And the last one, in a main point of this video, the UFC addiction. Now, this is a very recent phenomenon, and I actually suffered from this addiction just over a year ago. I was addicted to the UFC, and people don't understand what a UFC addiction is. You're addicted to watching these fights, and you watch a shit ton of tape. You don't have to watch tape, but you're just addicted to the UFC, right? You can see this every New Year, specifically, and this is what broke my UFC addiction. Every New Year, there's roughly 4 weeks off from UFC, and then January, there's only a couple cards in the month. And people will go fucking nuts. They like literally cannot stand that they can't watch UFC every fucking Saturday. It breaks their minds, and it's terrible for them because you get so invested into fist fights and cage fighters. And the perfect representation of this is MMA Guru. He has lost it, bro. He's lost the fucking plot. He got lost in the sauce of the UFC. He is addicted, and he is the main reason that the UFC fan base is so parasitic, because parasites attract parasites. But that is going to be it for today's video. Like, comment, subscribe. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know down below. Let me know also if there's any other addictions that you wanted covered and what fighters represent those addictions. Buy my memberships. Join my Tapology. You get so much content. You get featured every single Eager News if you're a top 5 winner in my Tapology. So if you want some fucking neat little bragging rights to show everyone you're better than them. Yeah, you say, yeah, I'm fucking better than you. Yeah, did you? Are you a top 5 on the Eagle Tapology? Didn't fucking think so. Did you get shown to 120 viewers that you're fucking better than me? I don't think so. I don't think so. Either way, thank you all for watching. EagleMMA out.
Hey. Young Lean?
You all got a medication.
Are you Young Lean?
What?
Are you Young Lean?
No, I'm Barry Dillon.